Hello everyone, welcome to Big Friendly Grub. I hope you are safe and well. Now today I want to show you how to make an absolutely wonderful cake. It's called a hummingbird cake, and the hummingbird cake, it originally came from Jamaica, but it made its way over to the southern states of the US and became very popular over there. More recently it's had a bit more of a surge in popularity. You see it popping up a bit more on other food channels and in like recipe blogs and things like that, and it's had this surge of popularity, and of course I want to hop on the bandwagon late as usual, but I have made it before, but it's been quite a while. But it's had this surge of popularity recently, so I thought it was a good time to show you how to make it because it's a brilliant cake. If you like carrot cake, it's very similar in that regard, in that it's got oil in it and it's got like nuts in it as well, but instead of walnuts it's got pecans and it's got a cream cheese icing as well. But also what makes it a beautifully moist cake and so delicious is that it's got bananas in it as well, and also crushed pineapple. So if you've got some like bananas sitting around the house that are going horrible and black, and you don't want to make banana bread for the millionth time, then I suggest that maybe you make this instead because it's a wonderful cake. And I had made it quite a while ago, but it's been such a long time that I'm almost doing this from scratch again. So I'm going to enjoy this as well because I haven't had it for quite a while. So I'm really looking forward to doing this cake with you guys. It's also got some wonderful spices in it. It's got some nutmeg in it. It's got cinnamon in it. I'm also putting some allspice in it. So it's got wonderful flavors to it. It's just an absolutely beautiful cake. So let's get started with it because I can't wait to get going with this one. So as I said, two of the key components of this cake are the bananas and pineapple. So I'm going to show you what to do with these first. Let's start off with the bananas. So I've got 4 really lovely ripe bananas here. They're too ripe for me to eat by themselves, but they are fantastic for cakes like this. They are fantastic for banana bread, or indeed the hummingbird cake. And these are quite soft now. They're overripe, they're horrible. You can see that's just broken away so easily. So I'm going to get these mashed up into this bowl. You can see how soft and squidgy that is. These are going to be perfect for that cake. The blacker the better, to be honest, when you're baking with bananas. The other great thing about them being this ripe is you get that full banana flavour coming through. They just smell so banana-y at this point. They just smell fantastic. It's almost like fake banana, it's so strong. So I'm going to get these mashed up. So I'm just going to get these mashed up, and I'm just going to use a fork because they are so soft. You only need a fork. So those are all lovely and mashed up. You can see there's still some chunks in there as well, which is good because you get nice pieces of banana in there as well. So I'm going to put this to one side. So now we can move on to our pineapple. I've got pineapple rings here, but you can also get pineapple pieces in a can, or you could use fresh pineapple if you wanted to. I think you can also pick up crushed pineapple already if you can get hold of that. But I'm using pineapple rings because that's all I could get. So I've got 275 grams worth of pineapple here, and I'm going to need to blitz this up so it becomes like crushed pineapple. So I've got here my little hand mixer, or my hand food processor here. It's a new one, I haven't used it yet, so hopefully it'll work fine. I'll pop these into here, just like so, just straight over there like that. It's almost like one of those games we have to throw the rings onto the thing to win a prize. Pop that on securely, and then I'm just going to blitz this up until I'm quite satisfied with the texture. To be honest, I'm quite happy with that already. I took 5 or 6 pulses of the food processor, but it's become a nice, lovely crushed up texture. So that's pretty much what we want. So I'm going to pop this to one side as well. Now we can get going with combining our wet ingredients together. As I said, this is an oil-based cake, so I've got 250 millilitres of sunflower oil here. You could also use vegetable oil. As long as it's a flavourless oil, it doesn't matter too much. I like to use sunflower. And just into this, I'm going to crack 3 eggs, hopefully not getting any shell in. There's 1, 2, and 3. Oh, a bit of shell there right at the end. Then just got to quickly combine these together. Then into that we can add in our bananas and our crushed pineapple as well. And mix that all together as well. There we go, that's all lovely and combined together. So now we can get in our dry ingredients. So we want to add in 375 grams of self-raising flour and the same amount of caster sugar. We want a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of bicarb, and next our spices, and I'm adding in 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 1, 2, teaspoon of allspice, and half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Also adding in a drop of vanilla extract because I forgot it earlier. And then we can bring this all together. Just get around all those edges, make sure you've got everything. Now we're almost there because, as I said, it's going to have nuts in it, it's going to have some pecans in it. I've got some lovely pecans here, and I've already toasted these in a dry pan just for a few minutes just to bring out some of the flavours. So I'm just going to pop these onto my balls and just roughly chop them up. So those are all nicely chopped up. I've got nice different sizes of pecans here, so I'm going to slide this into my cake batter, like so. Then I'm just going to fold these through my cake batter. Now that's our cake batter ready, so we just need to get this divided into 2 cake tins. So I've got 2 8-inch cake tins here, which I've already lined and greased, and I'm just going to divide up my cake batter into these 2 tins as evenly as I possibly can. I'll use me a ladle today. So with my cake batter evenly divided between the 2 tins, I can now get these into the oven. Now with the batter evenly divided, these can go into the oven at 180 degrees C, and these can probably go in for about a good 35 to 45 minutes. It's quite a wet batter, so it's going to need a while to bake, but I will check these along the way as always. So we'll be back in about 45 minutes, I reckon. Right, it's been about 45 minutes and these have risen up really nicely and they've got a lovely colour on them now as well. They smell fantastic as well. You can smell that banana in them. They've kind of got that banana bread smell to them. Oh, there we go, look at those. And I'm just going to do the old skewer test, poke a skewer into these, just make sure they come out clean, which they do. That is clean. That is one clean skewer. Now this one's kind of like split on the top a bit, but I'm not too worried about that because I'm going to have to trim one of these on the top to make sure it's nice and level, because that's going to be our base and that's going to have the first layer of cream cheese frosting on it. So that's going to be that one. I can trim the top for that one, doesn't matter about that. And we get nice excess trimmings off of it that we can just eat. So I'm going to let these cool down in the tin for a few minutes so I can get them out without burning myself. And then I'm going to put them onto a wire rack and just let them cool down completely. And then we can put on our cream cheese frosting, cream cheese icing, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be tasty. So while our cakes are cooling down, we can be getting on with our cream cheese icing. Now cream cheese icing is one of my favourite icings, and that's another reason why I love this cake so much. And it's really quite simple. It's kind of like your buttercream, but you've got cream cheese in it and it just makes it delicious. So we're going to add in 75 grams worth of softened unsalted butter and 125 grams of cream cheese, or soft cheese as it's more commonly called these days. Make sure you get the full fat cream cheese, not the low fat cream cheese, just because it helps with the texture and the flavour and everything really. So we've got our 75 grams of butter, 125 grams of cream cheese, and we're just going to beat those together until they're lovely and smooth and creamy. Next we're going to want to add in our icing sugar. I've got 425 grams of icing sugar here, and you want quite a bit of it because when you add icing sugar to the cream cheese, it makes the cream cheese go really, really loose. So you want to make sure you've got plenty of icing sugar, just because it adds to the sweetness and because it helps with the texture and the structure of your cream cheese icing as well. So I'm going to put in half to start with, because this just goes everywhere. You can see it's already just going everywhere and I haven't done anything with it yet. I'm just going to start this off slowly. So that's the first half of our icing. It's looking really lovely and smooth already, so in goes the other half. So I'm just going to get around the edges, make sure I get any of that loose icing sugar which has gone absolutely everywhere. That's the one thing I hate about working with icing sugar. It just absolutely makes a hideous mess everywhere. But our cream cheese icing is looking lovely and smooth. It's a lovely colour and it's a really good consistency for spreading out. I don't need loads and loads of it because I'm only putting some in the middle and on the top. I'm not doing around the sides this time. But if you want to do that, you can. You just might need to double the amount of icing that you're making. So I think that's our icing lovely and ready. So we can just prepare our 2 layers of cake, get the icing on, and then we will have our hummingbird cake. It's going to be amazing. So before we start icing our cake, I want to level off one of the cakes so it's nice and even to create a nice base for our cake. Make it roughly the same sort of size as the other one. And that means I'm going to take off this cracked bit off the top as well. You can see it's ended up with a bit of a rim here as well. So I want to try and take that off as well. So I'm going to get my cake leveler, which I've already set it at the level I want it to, and I'm just going to bring this through very slowly, try and level this off. So I've got my cake leveled off now, so I'm going to get some of my icing onto here, get a good dollop, but not too much because structurally it's not as strong as buttercream, so you don't want to put a load in the middle, then put your lid on and have it just squeeze all out the sides. So I'm going to put on a decent amount, but not too much hopefully. So a good blob in the middle. Spread this out. I've got this on a board to make things easier, move things around, and also I don't have any cake boards the right size, so this is the one that is usually part of my rotating cake stand. But today it's serving as a cake board as well. Now with a good layer of cream cheese icing in the middle, I'm just going to pop on the top of my cake like so, and then I'm just going to finish this off with the rest of the icing across the top of my cake. There we go, we've got a lovely layer of cream cheese icing across the top there. I'm not quite finished because I just want to finish it off with a little bit of decoration. So I'm going to pop on some extra pecans that I toasted off earlier. You could also chop these up, crush them up if you want, sprinkle them across the top. You could just leave it like that. You could decorate with like edible flowers if you wanted to. But I'm just going with extra pecans because I love pecans. And pop these on around the cake. There we go, that is our hummingbird cake all finished, lovely and decorated, looking great. Now all that's left to do is to give some of it a go. I want to give it a go because, to be honest, it's quite warm today. The icing might melt a little bit, so I want to get it while it's looking good. And hopefully it will taste amazing, I'm sure it will. So let's give it a quick go. Now the proof of any cake is in the cutting and the eating, so let's get a slice out of this and see how this has turned out. So I'll get a nice slice in here, I think. Right down here, get this onto a plate. Oh, there we go. That is going to be a lovely moist cake. It's kind of got that like carrot cakey texture in it, and that is going to be a lovely cake. I can smell the banana and the spices in that already. So I'm going to give this a quick go. And there we go, one slice of hummingbird cake, originating from Jamaica and popularised in the southern United States, and now it's made its way over here and it's gaining popularity again, like I said. And for good reason, it's a fantastic cake. It's got that pineapple in there, it's got that banana in there, it's got all those lovely spices in there. It's a beautiful cake and I can't wait to give it a go, so I'm not going to. I'm going to give it a go right now. So let's get some of that top, let's get some of that icing, let's get one of those pecans as well. I love pecans. I think they're probably my favourite nut outside of peanuts. So let's give this a go. It's a big bit, but I'm going in anyway. Yeah. Oh, that is such a nice cake. It's got a bit of everything in there. You've got those pecans in there. You've got a little hit of that pineapple. You've got that banana flavour going through it. You've got that beautiful cream cheese icing, which is one of my favourite icings, like I said earlier. And it's so delicately moist as well. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful cake. So if you're a big fan of like banana bread or carrot cake and you want something that's kind of like the best of both worlds, highly recommend giving this a go. It is so good. It is so good. Oh, it's slightly sweeter than carrot cake, not massively sweeter. And you've got that banana flavour running through it. It's so good. But that's it from me. I hope you consider making the hummingbird cake because it is a wonderful cake. But if you enjoyed the video, then give it a like. If you're enjoying what I'm doing on the channel, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to find out when new videos are coming on board. And basically, just make this cake. It's so good. It's so good. So that's it from me. Take care of yourselves and I will see you next time on Big Friendly Grub. Bye.